Well, good afternoon. We are breaking into your programming right now because there is some breaking news out of Lockhart. The National Transportation Safety Board on site in Caldwell County with an update to the deadly hot air balloon crash. Let's listen in.
Here on scene about midday yesterday. For the rest of us, 10 or 11 of us were stranded in Washington, not able to get out due to weather and cancellation. So we've gotten here today, landed in Austin around 11:30. Before I go any further, I want to extend our sincere condolences to all of those who've been affected by this tragedy. Truly, our thoughts and prayers go out to them. In the big picture, what are we doing here? We are here to conduct an independent investigation. That's what the NTSB does. We're an independent federal agency charged by Congress to investigate transportation accidents. And then most importantly, our mission is to find out what happened so that we can keep it from happening again. In the big picture, I like to say we look at three things. We look at the human, the machine, and the environment. And so really what that means is, as far as the human, we're going to be looking at the operator. We want to know about the company itself. We want to know about the pilot. What was the maintenance like of that balloon? We'll be interviewing witnesses and looking at witness video. We've brought in a fire specialist who will be examining the fire aspects of this tragedy. We'll also be looking at the personal electronic devices that have been recovered, and I'll discuss that in just a moment. The team that was here yesterday from the NTSB, with the good assistance of local, state, and federal authorities, they actually got a lot done yesterday. And here's the factual information that we currently have. The balloon is a Kubicek. That's Kubicek. That's a balloon that's manufactured in the Czech Republic. The model number is BB85Z. Now, the information that we were provided through our official channels gave us the N number, the registration number. When we went out and looked at the envelope, the balloon itself, we saw that it had a different registration number, so I'd like to correct what that N number is. It's November 2469 Lima. So N2469L. And it just goes to show that even through official channels, sometimes the early information is incorrect. But we have actually verified that is the number that's on the registration plate of the actual envelope, the balloon part of this balloon. As I think most of you know, the balloon is operated by the Heart of Texas Hot Air Balloon Rides. It had 4 propane tanks and 3 burners. The passengers met the balloon operator in the San Marcos Walmart parking lot at 5:45 yesterday morning. And then they all rode in a van to the launch site, which was Fentress, Texas Air Park. The planned launch time was at sunrise, which was 6:49, but for some reason they didn't launch exactly at that time. We will interview the ground crew tomorrow to see if we can find out if there was any particular reason why the launch was delayed by as much as 20 minutes. We want to find out if there was anything going on there. The ground crew communicated with the pilot via cell phone during flight, and they used an iPad to track the balloon. And we also know that the pilot navigated with the use of his iPad on board the balloon. The first power line trip was reported by the utility company at 7:42, and the first call to 911 came in approximately 1 minute later. The accident site is about 8 miles from where it took off. So the distance between here and Fentress, direct line of sight, straight line, would be about 8 miles. Now, if you look at the resting position of the gondola or the basket relative to the envelope of the balloon, the envelope is about 3/4 of a mile northeast of the gondola. I think most of you realize the gondola is here underneath the power lines. The balloon portion, the envelope portion, is about 3/4 of a mile northeast from here. Yesterday, the Texas DPS used a helicopter to fly over and videotape the flight path of the helicopter, and we had an NTSB investigator ride along on that flight. As far as the personal electronic devices, the FBI often comes and assists the NTSB with our wreckage documentation, and the FBI evidence response team was able to locate 14 personal electronic devices, including cell phones, 1 iPad, and 3 cameras. We're told that the cameras appear to be completely destroyed. However, we will send all of these electronic devices back to the NTSB's lab in Washington, D.C., where our experts can perform their magic. They have been able to do miraculous things, from chips and non-volatile memory. We've even set up a whole new part of our lab to do just that. So I'm hoping that we'll be able to get some information from some of those devices. What we know about the pilot at this point is that he held a commercial pilot certificate with a balloon rating. He did not have any other ratings. He was not rated to fly airplanes or helicopters, only balloons. And we are gathering his records from the FAA right now. We've requested all of that. Tomorrow, our plan is to interview the ground crew. They've been busy trying to collect the maintenance records for us, which I understand are in Houston, and the maintenance records are being gathered. In addition to our investigators here, we have our specialist from the NTSB's Office of Transportation Disaster Assistance. They are working to assist the families of those victims. Throughout the next few days, our focus is to work on scene, to document the wreckage, and to gather what I refer to as the perishable evidence, the information that goes away with the passage of time. We can get their FAA records 2 weeks from now, but we don't want those the memories of the witnesses, for example, to fade somehow or another. This wreckage will not be here more than another day or so. So those are the things I'm talking about when I refer to the perishable evidence. So we're just here now to gather factual information. We're not here right now to solve the accident. We're not here to determine the probable cause. We're just here to gather that information. We're not even going to speculate on the accident. Our mission, as I mentioned earlier, we're here to find out what happened so that we can keep it from happening again, and that's really our purpose in life. I certainly want to thank all of the first responders, the local, the state, the federal officials who have been here to work with us and to work to do their jobs. We will be providing updates as we have them. It's my intention to have another media briefing tomorrow after we have more information. I'm not sure exactly when that will be. I would like for it to be around this time of day tomorrow. But for the latest information, please follow us at Twitter. And our Twitter handle for this type of event is at NTSB_newsroom. So it's at NTSB_newsroom, and that's the Twitter feed that we use for releasing information about accident investigations. Also, as we know, there's a proliferation of cell phones and videos out there that people have collected, and so we think we've heard from a lot of those folks, but I would encourage anyone who may have video or otherwise was a witness to the events preceding this accident. We would love to hear from you, and a good email address for that is witness@ntsb.gov. Again, that's witness at ntsb.gov. In just a moment, I'll call for questions, but before I do, what I'd like for you to do is raise your hand. When I call on you, state your name and your outlet, and we'll do it that way. So we have a question right here from the...
My name is Katie Paul. I'm with the Austin American-Statesman. I'm trying to find out, are you guys looking into whether balloons of the same type of balloon or any other balloons from this company had hard landings, any troubling landings, crash landings?
The question was, are we looking to see if this type of balloon has had a history of other accidents? And what I can tell you is that there have been, I don't have the exact figures here, Katie, but there have been other accidents involving this particular operator. But altogether in the past 5 years, I can say that including this accident, there have been 60 accidents since August of 2011 that have occurred that the NTSB has investigated. So that's 60 accidents, including this one. 5 of the accidents resulted in 7 fatalities, and now we have this one. It's the sixth accident involving fatalities that unfortunately had 16 fatalities.
And did any of those crashes involve this specific kind of balloon?
Did any of those involve this particular type of balloon? I have that information on my iPad. I don't have it right here with me, but there has been at least one other accident of this Kubitschek type of balloon, and there are about 110 Kubitscheks registered in the U.S. I'll try and have that answer later on, and maybe we could even tweet it. David?
David Kurth from ABC News. 2 quick questions. On the accident itself, was there fog? Was this, did he see the wires? Did he hit the wires or one of the towers? And then I have a broader question.
So the big question is that was there fog? Did he hit the wires or the tower? Let me address the second of those first. As you see back here, cherry picker has been up there this afternoon. There's physical evidence to indicate that the balloon or some component of the balloon hit the wires themselves and not the tower. As far as the weather information, we are gathering that. We have some pictures that show that it was, show that there were some clouds in the area. I heard the sheriff reporting earlier today that it was very foggy here after the accident. We all know that foggy conditions can change rapidly, so we're trying to nail down the best that we can. We've got some Twitter some Twitter images apparently from people on the balloon that might reveal that. We're in the process of analyzing that. And you've got a...
The broader question, you were on the board 2 years ago when a letter was sent to the FAA and said that more regulation needed to be placed on this industry. The FAA said no. What does this accident tell us about what the NTSB recommended to the FAA?
David's question is our April 2014 letter to the FAA, recommendation letter, where we issued two recommendations concerning air tour balloon operators. And the truth of the matter is the NTSB feels that there needs to be greater oversight by the regulator, and that regulator is the Federal Aviation Administration. Their response to us, the NTSB, the full board, has classified their response as an unacceptable response. We'll come over here, right here.
Omar Villafranca with CBS News. Did you get any distress calls from anyone on the balloon, or did they even have time?
Did we receive any distress calls from anyone on the balloon, or did they even have time? We have no information of that at this time. Yes, sir. Question right here.
With CNN, Mr. Sumwalt, you mentioned that the first trip was at 7:42, the first power line trip. Does that mean that there was some following that? And also, is the total victim still 16, and were they all recovered here in this area?
A couple of questions there. When I say the first power trip, that is the power trip. That's when the electricity was tripped off from this transmission line right here. There was none other one after that. After the electricity's turned off, that's it. The other question was, I'm sorry if I'm knocking things over here, was the total number of fatalities 16? And the answer to that is yes.
And were they all recovered in this area here, sir?
Were they all recovered in the area? They were all recovered in the area of the gondola itself. It's a question right here. Yes, sir.
Los Angeles Times. You said this morning 500 feet was the cloud ceiling. It looks like from weather data that it even went down to 200 or 300 feet. Can you say whether that's safe or it's possible to continue ballooning in that kind of cloud ceiling?
The question was about the weather. I did say, in fact, this morning that one of the weather reports from I think San Marcos Airport indicated it was a 500-foot ceiling. The ceilings can vary, and so we have our weather experts that are trying to look at the micrometeorology aspects of it. Just because it might have been 500 here, could it have been something else 3 miles away? Is it safe to operate with a low cloud cover? The requirements for the FAA to operate a balloon are that you have to maintain 1 mile of visibility and clear of clouds. So as long as you can do that, you're legal according to the federal aviation regulations. Carrie.
Witnesses say that they saw somebody with a video camera, likely with the company, chasing it and shooting it. Have you retrieved the video and have you reviewed it to determine if it can answer any questions?
The question is, have we been able... The hypothesis is that the chase crew would have had video of this balloon, and we are going to interview the crew tomorrow, but to date, we know of no video that they had, but we'll meet with them face-to-face tomorrow. And thank you for that question. Is there a follow-up to that?
Just one other question, and I don't know whether you can answer it out here, but the temperature was somewhere in the upper 70s with 16 people on board. Do they weigh the people who get on to determine whether they have enough thrust with the air, the hot air, to cause the balloon to rise quickly?
So Carrie's question was, do they weigh the people? Do they weigh each of the occupants to see the total weight of the balloon to determine if the performance of the aircraft would be suitable to lift that number of people? And we will be reviewing the company's procedures. When we got on the FAA plane this morning to come down here, they weighed our bags. They wanted us to actually put them on a scale. So we will want to know what are the requirements with this operator. So that's an example. There's a disparity between if you're an air tour operator in airplanes or helicopters, there's certain things that you have to do. But if you're operating a balloon, some of those requirements for the oversight of the FAA is not there. So those are the things that we'll be looking at. Come right here, and then we'll come
Tessa,
over here.
CNN. How have you already identified all of the victims, and when do you plan on releasing those names?
Have we identified the victims? And not to sound like a bureaucrat, but the NTSB does not do that. That will be the responsibility of the San Marcos.
I didn't get the question.
It's the responsibility of the local officials, and this gentleman right here, the Justice of the Peace, will be responsible for determining the identification of the victims. Yes, sir. Right here, and then we'll come right here in just a second.
Live with the San Antonio Express News. I just am wondering, from your initial investigation or observation of the wreckage, do you have any idea of if any of the gas lines from the propane tanks to the burners were severed at any point?
So do we have any idea if the gas lines from the propane to the burner were severed? And that's certainly the type of thing that we're looking into right now. Yes, ma'am.
Out of the Dallas area. Just to clarify the timeline of the accident, is it believed that the balloon caught fire before it made impact with the power lines, or was it the power lines that caused the fire?
Question is, did the balloon catch fire before it struck the power lines or after? That's always a very good question, and that's what we intend to find out. And was it the cause of the accident, or was it a result of the accident?
Next
right
question.
Here.
Sir, Will Weiser with the AP. You mentioned something about past incidents with this operator. I wanted to make sure that you weren't talking about the operator and not that particular type of balloon. And then I have one other real fast question.
So the question is clarification on my part. When I said that there were past incidents with this operator, what I hope I said is that I do know of a few other accidents involving this type of balloon, the Kubitschek balloon, and we will try and find that out. Again, I saw that number this morning. I don't have it with me. And you had a follow-up as well.
Have you had any indication from your initial investigation on the pilot that he had criminal history that may have prohibited him from being properly licensed?
Do we have any information really on the pilot's history? Is there any criminal background or anything like that? That is all a part of what we will do. As I've indicated, we're just really in the initial phases of our investigation. That's the type of stuff we can find out in 2 weeks. Right now, we're just trying to get out here and document the wreckage and interview the witnesses and things like that. So that's exactly, to answer your question, I don't know of anything like that, but those are the type of things that we routinely look into as a part of a transportation accident investigation. I want to thank you all for being here. We do plan to do a press conference tomorrow. Follow us on Twitter. Thank you very much.